Namaskar. You're most welcome to my channel Legal Outlook. Today we are discussing a topic which is very common and very relevant to all, one and all. Parliament passed Real Estate Regulation and Development Act in 2016 and the provision was implemented in 2017. The motto of the act was the accountability and transparency in the real estate sector. Attempts were made to create a system to secure the interest of the flat buyers, house buyers, but the builders tried to get and find out the legal lacuna to avoid the legal responsibility entrusted on them by the act. Thanks to the vigilant approach of the courts, that they are able to secure the interest of the buyers. There are some relevant questions which comes to mind with common man and common person, and when they think of approaching the RERA code. I had some questions from my friends and my viewers, and these questions are very genuine and they arising in apprehensions in the mind of the persons approaching the RERA code. Like whether RERA code has the jurisdiction on the project which is not registered under RERA. Or the other question is whether RERA code has the jurisdiction on the if the agreement is executed prior to 2017 or the RERA coming into force. The other question which comes to mind is whether RERA code has the jurisdiction if agreement between the parties has an arbitration clause. Next, whether complaint is maintainable when the completion certificate or the possession or the completion certificate, occupancy certificate is granted to the buyer for the project prior to 2017. Whether this RERA Act can be implemented or is of retrospective in operation. So if the occupation certificate is given in 2015 or 16 or prior to 17 and the registration of project was not and the registration of the project was not necessary, then the question arises whether the authority and the complaint against the unregistered product is maintainable before the authority. So these are the very genuine apprehensions. As an advocate, I keep reading the judgments and sometimes I find a judgment which is worth sharing. And this is one of the judgment which I found that the judgment is really answering the questions which I have raised before you in here. Let us see the facts of the case. Mrs. Arun Prabha booked a flat in Omex Heights in Sonipat. The buyer agreement was signed between the buyer and the builder on 7th April 2010, and as per that agreement the project was to be completed within 30 months, that is on or before 7th of October 2012. Omex offered the possession of the apartment in 2013, June 2013, without obtaining the occupation certificate and without actually completing the project. Under the compulsion created by the builder, Mrs. Arun Prabha took the physical possession of the apartment in November 2014, and she spent almost 1 lakh rupees in curing the defects in the flats. Thereafter, she approached the RERA court for reimbursement of that amount of rupees 1 lakh with the compensation for mental and physical harassment as well as on various other accounts. Here, RERA court granted the relief paid by the buyer, and Omex was asked to compensate for the mental harassment as well as the amount of rupees 1 lakh rupees she had spent on the flat. Now, the Omex files an appeal in the appellate tribunal of RERA under RERA Act. So answer of these all questions which I raised is given in this case by Justice Darshan Singh, a retired justice, and he is the chairman of Haryana Real Estate Appellate Tribunal. It is a very nicely written order, and it is well recognized for, and this judgment is recognized for and is appreciated for this well reasoned explanation of the act. And this I can say that this is a milestone in the development of jurisprudence of RERA Act. The appeal number in this case was 182 of 2019, and this judgment was delivered on 19th of December 2019, and the name of the case is Mrs. Omex Limited versus Mrs. Arun Prabha. The preamble here, it is important to see, because this judgment starts with the discussion on the preamble of RERA Act, and this preamble says that it is to establish the regulatory authority to protect the interest of consumers in the real estate sector and to establish an adjudicating authority for speedy dispute redressal. So the first question which I raised before you was whether unregistered project has RERA court has jurisdiction over the unregistered project or not. So here the dispute is we have to see which was a registered project versus unregistered project. Let us see the relevant provision, because this is discussed in the judgment and discussed in the backdrop of the relevant provisions of the this RERA Act. The section 2 subsection ZN defines about the real estate projects, and nowhere in the entire definition given by the Act there is any classification or distinction between the two projects, registered or unregistered. So the very definition itself covers the project of real estate sector, and there is no distinction between registered or unregistered to be under the provision of RERA Act. Now the next section is section 11. Section 11 deals with the transfer of title, and it requires the promoters to execute the required conveyance deed in favor of allottee. So again here this special onus is given on the promoters, does not create any distinction between registered or unregistered project. So it is incumbent upon the promoter to execute a conveyance deed in favor of the allottee. The next section which is very relevant is section 18, which deals with the return of the amount given by the allottee or the compensation claimed by the allottee in case the promoter fails to complete or is unable to give the possession of the property, or he has not completed the project as per the agreement he had entered with the buyer, or given in the brochure or in the advertisement, or it is deviating from the sanction plan. So if this kind of irregularities are on the part of builder, so builder has to be accountable, and even here there is no distinction between registered project or unregistered project. Now the next important section is section 31, which deals with the filing of the complaints with the authority or the adjudicating authority. Here again the complaint to be filed has no distinction in case of unregistered project, or even if there is any grievances against the promoter of an unregistered project, the person very well can approach to the RERA court. Next, to conclude that the regulatory authority shall only have control over all the projects, whether it is registered or unregistered, if it lies in the territory within the territorial jurisdiction of the court. So here in Omex case, the court said that such artificial classification violates the concept of equality enshrined in the Constitution under Article 14 of the Constitution of India for the consumers of registered and unregistered projects. So no such classification can be done by promoter to take advantage of an unregistered project. So this question is answered by the court, by the RERA court, by the appellate tribunal, saying that even if the project is unregistered, that is very much within the purview of the allotee to approach the RERA court. Even similar view has been expressed by the Rajasthan Real Estate Appellate Tribunal or the Punjab Real Estate Appellate Tribunal, and very much a similar judgment has been passed by the Division Bench of the Bombay High Court. So this issue is well decided now that even an unregistered project has the jurisdiction, the RERA court has the jurisdiction over the unregistered project. Now the next question is, in the case which we are dealing with the Omex case, that possession was already given in 2014, and the occupation certificate was acquired by the builder on 26th October 2015. So in this case, the court said that section 11 subsection 4 imposes responsibility on the promoters to maintain the essential services on reasonable charge. This is very important, on a reasonable charge till the maintenance is taken over by the association of allottees, and the maintenance is being managed by the association of allottees. So here the promoter has the obligation, twofold obligation. First, it has to form an association, and then it hand over to the management to that association, and till then the management or the promoter has to provide all the essential services on a very simple or very easy or reasonable charges. The other important obligation is cast upon the promoter is to execute the sale deed or the conveyance deed, and till this conveyance document is executed, the agreement to sale which will entered between the parties is very much in existence, and so it cannot be said the relation between promoter and the allottee is concluded. And since it is in the present case even in existing, since no conveyance deed has been executed, the court, RERA court, has very much jurisdiction. Now another angle is pre-RERA agreement versus post-RERA agreement. So this has been answered by the court in this case, that since conveyance deed has not been executed, so it is not a concluded contract, and even after imposition of, after bringing this RERA act in the force, this RERA court has the jurisdiction over those projects where the conveyance deed has not been executed. Here it is very relevant to see the definition of agreement for sale, which is in under section 2C of the Act, and it does not exclude the agreement entered between the parties prior to coming into operation of the RERA Act, where the transaction is still in the process or conveyance deed has not been executed. It was categorically held that the provisions of Act are quasi-retroactive and will be applicable in cases, or in the case of agreement where the conveyance deed has not been executed, so the transaction are still in the process of completion. Now, one important aspect was also dealt here by this court, that what is the effect of the agreement which is one-sided and which is mostly drafted by the promoters and heavily leaning in favor of promoters. More often, the agreement entered by promoters with the allottees is one-sided, and allottees is left with no choice but to sign on the dotted line on the agreement prepared by the promoters. Even he or she cannot change the comma and full stop in the agreement, and he has or she has to sign. So here the function of the authority or adjudicating authority or the tribunal or the court formed under the RERA Act becomes very important, because they have to balance the interest of the parties and particularly safeguard the interest of the allottee. The rights of the parties are to be balanced in such a way that must be equitable and favoring both the parties and giving justice to both the parties. The promoters cannot be allowed to take undue advantage over the allottees, because promoter is in very commanding position. The court is duty bound here to take into consideration the legislative intention of this act to protect the interest of consumers in the real estate sector. If the clauses of buyer's agreement entered between the parties are one-sided, unfair and unreasonable, then the court has to secure the interest of the allottees. And particularly we have seen that when we come with the question of compensation for the delayed payment, so then generally we see there is a clause in that agreement that in case of delay in possession, the promoter will be giving ₹5 per square meter per month to the allottee for the delayed period, and normally this comes to the 3.2% per annum interest on the amount paid normally. Whereas if there is delay on the part of allottee to pay the amount to the builder, then they charge the interest at the rate of 20 to 24% and sometimes even more. So see the inequitable or unjustified provision of providing that ₹5 per square meter per month. There it is 3.2% interest, and the builder charges 24% interest. So in this such arrangements cannot be allowed because these are ex facie, on the face, one-sided, unfair and unreasonable. So court has to see and stop these unfair trade practices and balance it by providing the compensation for the delayed possession by providing 9%, 10% interest as usually it is being given by the court, sometimes 12% and 15% also. So learned appellate tribunal in this case held that the provisions of the act and the rules made thereunder shall be applicable to the project even though it is not registered or even the agreement is prior to the 2017, that is prior to coming into force and operation of RERA Act. So this way we can conclude here that RERA is going to be a milestone in converting this unorganized real sector into an organized real sector. As we all know that real sector contributes heavily in the GDP of our country, and it is the biggest employment provider in our country. So, and even on social and emotional note, it converts and it realizes a dream of the person to have a house or a flat in the well-developed township where the other modern facilities are available. So this act is going to prove very beneficial for even buyers and the builders. I have made other videos also related to the RERA. I'll provide that link of those videos in the description section. Please watch those videos, and even in the next video I'll be discussing a very important judgment also. Judgment related with the RERA, which will clears the clouds or the doubts over the effectivity of the RERA Act. Hope you like this video, and if you have found it useful, then please like it and share it with your friends. And if you have not subscribed it, please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so that proper notification can reach you at the time of uploading of the new video. And one special request, please let me know your views by writing in the comment section of the video so that I can improve myself with your suggestion. And if you have any question related to the RERA, please, because I have the practical knowledge for working in the RERA board, so I can give you my views and my advice and my opinion. It will not be a legal advice in the complete sense, but my opinion on your question. Thank you very much. Namaskar.